Good evening. Welcome to the Private Property Farming Podcast. My name is Mbali Nwoko, as always, bringing you another edition of the Farming Podcast. Today we have a female farmer. It's always great to interview female farmers and obviously share experiences with female peers in the industry. And we'll dive deeper into her business today, as she's a mixed farmer. She has free-range chickens as well as vegetable farming in her operation. She's based in the east or slightly north of Pretoria. I think it's Cullinan. And we'll get to understand that business a bit more. So if you have any questions for our guest this evening, please drop comments or questions onto the comment box, and we'll obviously read out your question live during the show and get the guest to answer it. I mean, this podcast is for you, to bring you all your farming knowledge that you need. And like I've been saying in the past couple of days, is that we've had a lot of poultry farmers. You know, maybe poultry is the thing of late, but it's always great to also get different perspective from different farmers regarding the poultry space. But today, specifically on poultry, we're also going to be tackling free-range farming, broilers as well as layers. So our guest this evening and our topic for tonight is the benefits of organic farming. But we're going to really focus and put the lens on free-range farming and farming using environmentally friendly methods. And our guest this evening is Dr. Ethel Zulu, founder and CEO of BeeTree Farming. Ethel, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. And how are you, Mbali? Thank you
great.
So much for the invitation.
It's great to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you for making the time. I know farmers are always busy, but I think it's very, very important that we share and impart knowledge to many of our audience who are interested in the agricultural sector. So for those that don't know you, Dr. Ethel, and because I know you on a personal level, so I'm going to call you Ethel. But
definitely. I'm Ethel, Farmer Ethel.
Farmer Ethel. So, Dr. Ethel, if for those that don't know you, right, just give us a brief background of who you are and how you founded BeeTree Farming and where it's based.
Okay. My name is Dr. Ethel Zulu, and BeeTree Farm started in 2017. I bought the farm in 2017. Before then, for 9 years, I've been doing training, skills development programs focusing on agriculture, nutrition, and health. So we had a company that was running across the country and training the farmers, and I realized that 9 years later that, I've been telling everyone that when you have, especially women, the main focus of training was focusing mainly on the women. And I've been saying to them that when you have the land, there's no reason to be broke and to go to bed hungry, So I said, hey, let me see and test if this thing is right, So I bought the farm, but when I was buying the farm, I was tired of traveling. So I bought the farm with the intention of opening an academy more than farming, basically. Yes, so that people can come to our farm, and then we will use the farm as a demonstration farm. And then they come and learn, go back and implement everything that we taught them. So, but things changed in the process, because then I realized that, wow, this is real. When my land was approved, I couldn't believe myself. And I'm like, I found myself in the 23-hectare farm, and full of trees, there was literally nothing when I bought the farm in terms of the production that was happening here. The place used to be an accommodation place before. So I literally had to start from scratch, everything. From there on, So my point of departure was to actually come with a very clear vision of where do I want to start. Do I want to start as the academy right away, or do I want to establish the farm, then bring in the academy concept later on? So we decided on farming vegetables and farming organically. My background is nutritionist. My PhD is in nutrition. So nutrition and food and nutrition has always been part of who I am, basically. So obviously that will influence the production method that I use, because I've always said that, much as we tell people eat balanced diet, don't destroy your nutrients when you cook them. But then I needed to understand from the beginning of this whole thing, the production, because there's no point of saying that people must cook well when they don't even have access to cook that, So that's when my passion of producing started. And we started then with a 1,000 square meter in 2017. Right now we are at 8 hectares. It has been a journey, not easy at all, but it is possible. So we started, and the other thing is that I used to, that encouraged or motivated me to actually start thinking deeper about farming, is that I used to be a board member of Johannesburg Food Produce Market. And, as a board member, you have access to the finance of the company and all that. And I used to be wowed by the numbers of the spinach. I'm like, what? This particular farmer making this much millions just on spinach. I was like, I'm going to try. My first crop must be spinach. I want to see if I can just pay my car or the land back with the spinach,
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. And once the game started, things changed. Then things didn't become as easy as I thought, and remember, then I was using the investment from my training company to establish this thing. And little did I know that farming is one of the cash flow intensive business, one disadvantage thing about farming is that when you do not have enough capital, you would never go far. Because especially when you self-fund it yourself, it's a complete different ball game, So I think in the process, I also experienced the way I ran out of funds to expand, and what I was bringing in was not sufficient to run the farm, But I never lost hope. Then I just decided to start, through joining the farming organization and working with the government and friends, I still managed to continue pushing and moving forward. So basically, in terms of my history, that is how this whole thing started. In summary, started from my I needed to understand the nutrients that I'm dealing with from the production level. Number two, I needed to test my theory of saying, if you have land, you can have money. Yes, now, if you ask me this question 2 years back, I would say, no, that's not true. But where I am, I'm starting to see the vision clearly. And I still believe that, yes, indeed, if you have all the support that you need, the working in the land is one of the most a profitable business that one can venture in. Yeah.
Wow. So what is BeeTree farming right now? And what type of training are you offering to maybe students, or is it training to students or farmers? Maybe if you could expand a little bit on that.
Okay. Now, we do train students. Currently, we have about 20 students from the TUT that are staying on the farm full time. And so we mentor them. They come out of school not having any experience, and they rely on us, the established farmers, to come and just really mentor them, support them, and expose them to the real industry of farming. So I have them for a period of 10 months. And the goal is that at the end of the 10 months, these learners should be either be employable as farm managers or start their own farms. But my vision is that I wish that they can start their own farm and they continue to link with BeeTree Farm, so that we can be able to support them in terms of their produce, help them with the markets, and help them to start, as a giving back to them at the end of the program, because they actually contribute a lot. I mean, if you can imagine having 20 students working every day, it really gives us a long leap forward into the business. If maybe they're not ready, but wherever they go, they should be able to be employable and get very better positions while gaining more experience to start their own thing. But I really want to see myself one day sitting back and say, wow, I've managed through BeeTree Farm to produce thousands of young farmers for the country.
Yeah. What sort of training, Ethel, are you taking the young students? Is it training on what BeeTree is farming, basically the free-range chickens, as well as vegetables?
Yeah, we take them through everything that BeeTree Farm is all about. So in the vegetable, we will expose them from the beginning of the process, whereby we start the entire thing with them taking the soil to the lab. The soil test come back, teach them how to interpret the soil and how to correct the soil, working with the agronomists. So when my agronomists come, we sit together with the students so that they understand that critical foundation of planting years. And then we from there we take them through the soil preparation, teach them on how to prepare the land in terms of what kind of equipment, what is the standard procedure when you prepare the land, from slashing to disking to plowing to rotavating to bed making and all that. We take them, they do that practically. Then from there we take them to the planting. Just after planting, we sit together and now talk about the strategic maintenance program of whatever that we could have been planted. Like the group that I have now, we started with the winter season, so we did all that process through the winter products, which was cabbage and spinach. So by the end of the season, they will be very much confident and motivated to know that when it comes to spinach and to cabbage, we understand everything in terms of the process of producing the product and the quality product, And then in the next season, they rotate. Those that were based maybe in the nursery will swap and go to the land. Those that were in the land will go to the nursery. Those that were in the kitchen, the poultry division, they will swap, so that by the end of 10 months, they get the comprehensive experience into both fields, and then they will be able to have more opportunities when they complete with us. And then in terms of this is the structured formal mentoring program of the student. But I do also mentor other farmers that start the farming business and they also don't know where to start. I also have a program for mentoring farmers that want to start and learn the business. And more than anything, we still have the farming programs that we do, training programs, like we're training in how to start the poultry, the layers, the broilers, and also in vegetable production, organic method, the permaculture way. Yeah, so we have different levels of training. The student, there's a small-scale farmer that are starting into the business, mentoring them, as well as anyone that, you open to the public, the training.
Right. With BeeTree deciding to go the organic route or go or start farming using sustainable methods, is that driven partly because of your PhD, you being a nutritionist by profession?
Yeah, I would say yes. Not necessarily, let me not say it was driven by my PhD, because I've done nutrition all my life. I started with home economics to the degree, but I think my passion of healthy food and also healthy living and ensure that people eat the best food so that they can have good health. That is where it started. And I believe in producing food in an ethical way. So I don't believe in chemicals. I don't believe in, because I believe in sustainable method, because we still need our land 100 years later from today, because when you continuously contaminate the land with the chemicals, then we're reducing the production power of our soil, So I believe very much that whenever we mulch and we put the compost, the chicken manure, the cow manure, we are giving back to the soil. And the soil, like having that kind of a relationship with the soil. So it is driven by my passion of really wanting to see people eating healthy food at an affordable price, and being able to not have, because remember, the soil is the diseases, most of the diseases come from the soil. So if I'm in the space, I'd rather do my part from where I am and ensuring that there's food security and people have access to food and safety and safe food. Yes.
Right. And free range chicken, how does that differ to normal chicken, or, for a normal farmer growing chickens in a poultry house or a chicken house? So maybe just explain the difference in terms of what is free range chicken, and how do you feed free range chickens? Do they usually eat the normal chicken feed that is available in the market, or is it something completely different?
No, yeah, free range chicken is different from the normal broiler chicken. Okay, so remember, there's poultry for meat, and then you have chicken for dual purpose that can give you both the meat and the egg.
Yes.
So yeah, free range chicken ranging method basically is about allowing a chicken to be a chicken. Not confine it into just allow it to be a chicken, and let it be exposed to the sun, get the natural vitamin D instead of being constrained in a room and getting all the lights. It's not a natural process. Yeah, and the other thing is that we call them free range because they are free. They are ranging outside. Chickens by nature, they are meant to dust bath. They're meant to eat worms in the soil and the grass and all that. They believe that a happy chicken is a healthy chicken.
Yeah.
And so the difference basically is more in the production method, whereby with the broilers we put them in a house, constrain them in a house, and give them feed and hope that they will gain weight and be slaughtered there. But now with the free range, you at least allow, while you still want the weight in the chicken, but you allow it to be a chicken. So yeah, but how we started the free range chicken method at our farm is that since we trying our best to produce organically. So one of the biggest thing we need when we plant is when we prepare our soil is the chicken manure. So I used to spend a lot of money buying chicken manure. So it just crossed to my mind that, but now why can't we also rear our own chicken? The aim at that point was to generate manure, not necessarily to be a business. But then again, I had to then decide what kind of chickens do I want. I said, okay, what if I buy a few chickens that could give us the chickens, and then later on we can get the meat, and out of the meat we get the manure. So you get everything out of the chicken, basically. So then I researched, I realized that, okay, indigenous chicken is the way to go, because those are strong chickens, as compared to the broilers. So then I started researching and learning more about the free range system. We have about the day old. Remember, with layers, you raise them from day old to 22 weeks before you can even get the eggs. So that's how we started. So I have 3 different breeds, which was the black chickens, which is black Australorp, the South African one, which is Poch Kukuk, and then the Rhodes Island. So I had to learn the behaviors of the 3 chickens. And then at the end of 18 months, I realized that the Poch Kukuk breed is, for me, it has got the high laying quality, and it has got a bigger carcass at the end of the laying process. So therefore, I'm going to go with that. And I like them because they enjoy being outside. They are very strong. They are not sensitive to diseases and all that. So it's much easier to farm with them. However, now when we started selling the chickens, people started enjoying our chicken. They love the chicken so much. The free range chicken will never taste the same as any other conventional chicken. So yeah. Then we had also lots of white clients who also say, oh, we also want BeeTree Farm chicken. And also, so when I deliver to them, they order the chicken, I deliver the chicken. But now at the end of the day, when they start cooking the chicken, as you know, the hard body doesn't cook fast, and then they started complaining, no, Ethel, your chicken, we need a small chicken. Then I had to be innovative and start thinking, how about I also try the soft chicken, but also raise them free range method. Then you had to understand how does Woolworths get it right, because the chicken at Woolworths is not a hard body, yet is a free range chicken. So I went there and I checked the farmers that are supplying Woolworths. And then I started studying more about their production broiler method, and that's how we were encouraged now and motivated to start the free range broiler chicken. So the difference again between the broiler, the normal broiler and the free range broiler is that with the normal broiler, after 5 weeks to 6 weeks, the chicken is ready for slaughter. But this one's the natural part, the free range part, the organic part of this is that we allow them longer. We keep them at least for 8 weeks. By the time we slaughter the chicken, now, the difference is that the bones of the free-range broiler is not as hard as the hard body, yet not as soft as the normal chicken. And the taste, yes, and the taste itself, because the other chicken, it just consume only the feed, the normal conventional feed. With our free-range broiler, I feed them with barley fodder. We make it here at our farm. The feed for years. So yeah, we produce grass for them, and we have planted kukui grass and lucerne. They eat kukui and lucerne from week 3 to week 6. Yes, we still give them the normal food that they eat, but the other advantage of free range method is that because the chicken have access to eating outside the grass and the others, then you cut on the cost of the feed.
Right.
Because they are yes, during the day they are not eating the normal food that is expensive. They are eating outside, but at the same time they are gaining much more nutrients in just doing that.
Yeah.
So that is how that is the difference between a broiler, normal broiler, and the free range broiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about cost cutting, and which is what was going to be one of my follow-up questions, because we've had a couple of broiler and egg laying farmers in the previous episodes in the show, and they've mentioned how feed is such an important cost and an expensive cost at that in growing or raising chickens, and then followed by the amount of money that you'll spend in vaccinating, the birds. So my question there, I wanted to ask, from a free range perspective versus the normal conventional way, does a farmer get to cut costs from feed as well as vaccination if you are doing free range chickens? So when you're doing free range chickens, is there no need to vaccinate, or do you still vaccinate the birds?
Oh, when you yes, you can decide. Like in our case, we do not vaccinate our chickens. We don't use any hormones, and we don't use any brine. And because we believe that their systems is strong enough, from the other things that we are giving them. So you cut cost on that, but the vaccine is not. It doesn't cost much to buy vaccine, so it's not that significant. The biggest thing is on feeding. So 70% of the cost of producing a chicken, it's feed. So how we manage that is that through the barley fodder that we make, we are able to cut 30%, meaning that we give the chicken 30% the barley grass, and then we save that 30% that could have gone to the normal feed. So we end up cutting our feed cost by 30% and still come with a very healthy and nice size 2 kg chicken at the end of the growing time.
Yeah. And from a market perspective, food that is grown, for example, vegetables that is grown more environmentally friendly or more organic, to say, as well as chicken that is grown in a free range way. Does it fetch higher prices in markets or not?
No, definitely. You get 10 to 20% more when you sell your chicken free range than when you sell them conventional. Because remember, with the chicken, the free range, they don't grow fast. So we keep them longer,
Yeah.
but you are able to recover that cost when you sell them, because they get more rent per kg as compared to the other one, because of the taste and the nutritional value of the meat is not comparable. So I would advise everyone to actually consider going free range and going the natural method of producing food, because at the end of the day, it is the cheapest way, but the most healthiest way of producing food. Yeah.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ethel, for these insights. And I think I just want to know, basically, I mean, you started in 2017. It's now 2021. It seems like you've gone through a lot in these past 4 or 5 years and so, and I like your profile and the fact that you said, you've been a board member at the Fresh Produce Market. You were an entrepreneur before this as well, owning a training company and being able to incorporate the training business into your primary production farm, and obviously still upskilling some graduates in some universities and technicons. I want to know what's next for BeeTree farming.
I know, but as a farmer, it takes almost 3 to 4 years to start seeing where you are going. So I must say that now I see the light. Fortunate enough, 2021, I was nominated to participate in the Women Creating Wealth program. It's called WCW, Women Creating Wealth. It's a program by Gracia Marshall. So I attended that business program, where I met 20 more women. It's a program for this year with 20 women, and that helped me a lot, because it is almost like an MBA, which is something you might be, as a farmer, very good with the technical part of your business. But I think after participating in the Women Creating Wealth program, it has actually helped me to think bigger, to see my vision more clearer, and to understand my business processes much more. So I can say that I see BeeTree Farm growing in terms of business development. I see BeeTree Farm growing their brand of free range chickens. I say we are very much excited with the new season. I just graduated from the program, learned so much about marketing, about financial management. Those little things that are not in the books. Apparently, that's what this program have managed to put together. And now I feel much more ready to go into the new season. So what the people can be looking out for us for the next season, we will be planting a lot of peppers, a lot of tomatoes, and a lot of cabbages as well. The good thing about us this year, again, is that we managed to secure at least the contract grower. So at least we grow with the purpose, where we know where our products are actually going to. And again, we have managed in the few years to gain trust with the local commercial. So we are now able to produce food for SPAR, for Pick and Pay, for fruit and veg distribution center, and then as well as the Jumbo. So there is so much that we are looking for in the new season, and
growth.
It's just an exciting feel. I feel very excited and very, very encouraged and motivated, by the future.
Yeah, I wish you many, many milestones ahead for your business, and I'm glad you also you're not relaxing. As much as you're empowering others, you're empowering yourself as a woman business owner and as a female farmer, most importantly, because we all know how difficult farming can be, and obviously very, very capital intensive, as you mentioned at the start of the podcast. But thank you so much for your time, Dr. Ethel, this evening, and all the best with BeeTree Farming.
Thank you so much, Mbali. It was really nice. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. If you just missed us, we were speaking to Dr. Ethel Zulu, who's the founder of BeeTree Farming, and she told us about her business, how she incorporated training into her primary production business, as well as farming vegetables, as well as free-range eggs, or chickens as well, and also highlighted the process in terms of how she grows her birds and the benefits of farming free-range chickens as well as eggs, as opposed to using the standard conventional methods. And I think there's a couple of tips that she also mentioned, but I don't want to create a spoiler. Please go onto our YouTube channel on private property under the farming podcast, and you can catch our interview this evening. And yeah, please, I encourage you to keep supporting the podcast, because this podcast is for you, to give you all and any information regarding farming. And I'm looking forward to next week's episode, where we have another entrepreneur or agripreneur or a professional in the agri industry. I suppose it's one to look out for. But thank you so much for watching this evening and for supporting the farming podcast. We will see you next week Tuesday, but from me, good night, God bless, and stay home.
Thank you.